Hi, this is Ed Rushman for Whitestone Journal. You know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Why is that? Partly it's anonymity. It's the idea that you're there, you're not around people that you know, and you can go off and do things, the implication being bad things. But we like to say naughty because naughty doesn't sound as bad as bad. They don't say go do evil, they say, oh, we'll just be a little naughty. But anyway, you don't know anybody, so, the idea is that you can do stuff. That's a kind of freedom. It's not necessarily that we are making good use of freedom, but there's a kind of freedom in anonymity and knowing that we can do whatever we want. It's part of the idea behind The Invisible Man. I mean the book by H.G. Wells, not necessarily the movie, although that did illustrate it. In having freedom, we can become more openly who we already were. We can be ourselves because there's no penalty for being ourselves, good or bad. So for somebody that has really, really bad desires, being free to do that with no repercussions means that they will do bad things if that's really who they are. We all have our problems. We all have our temptations and stuff. And for some of us, to really be able to do anything we want doesn't work out very well. St. Augustine said, love God and then do what you want. But loving God is the premise. That's the thing that has to be there. And of course, somebody that hears that and says, oh, great, I can do whatever I want, but doesn't love God first, that's probably not going to go very well. It might go okay for them, they think, but it certainly isn't going to go well for the people around them. So that's something to think about. When we give other people freedom, if we really give them freedom, we give them the opportunity to be themselves, and we have to live with the consequences of that. If we let somebody really feel free to tell us whatever they want to tell us, they may tell us something we don't want to hear. But it'll really be them, and do we want to know? In vino veritas, in wine truth. It's an old Roman proverb, and the idea that, somebody that drinks a little bit may just tell the truth. And then people say, well, yeah, but they were drunk at the time. They didn't really mean it. No, that was pretty much what they really meant. That's what was really inside, and the wine reduced the inhibitions so they could say it. Giving somebody freedom reduces inhibitions. It says, you can do this and there's not going to be repercussions. That's the open door policy at work. We won't come back and retaliate if you open door. Of course, they will. They'll find a way to get you one way or the other a lot of the time. Very few people that say, tell me the truth, really want to hear it. But the advantage to giving somebody more freedom, it's a gift. And even though we may not like what happens, we're giving the other person the chance to be themselves and to discover who they are. We may not like what they say or do, but in giving them freedom, they may do something that we don't like, but they may see that, and it may cause them to question, why did I do that? Why would I be that person? Is that who I really want to be? And giving them that freedom allows them that chance at self-discovery. They may not use it well. They may do the wrong things over and over again and never become conscious of it. They may be conscious of it and decide that it's worth it to be that they don't want to be somebody else. But God gives us freedom. He gave us free will, and ultimately, He's the perfect giver of freedom. And we can choose what to do with that freedom. The difference is that when we give somebody freedom, we see how that freedom works out, maybe. But with God, He always sees how it works out. So we can say, well, yeah, God gave me freedom, but, it doesn't mean I'm going to do anything public. I'm still going to hide it. Well, no, because He knows. And so, He can read thoughts, and He knows what we do or say or think down to every level, far beyond what we really even know. He is the giver of freedom. It's amazing that knowing that God sees things doesn't necessarily change our behavior as much as it should. I look at times in my life where I was fully conscious that God was aware of what I was doing, and yet I wasn't really living the way I should have been living. It's a weird thing. I think sometimes We play a little game where we say we believe in God, but because we don't see him, we behave as if he's not there. Nevertheless, the freedom is there for us, and it's good for us to examine what we do when we have freedom. When no one else is around, what do we do? Do we do something that would be embarrassing the rest of the time? I don't know about you, and this is embarrassing to admit, but there's times that I'll be in the car, and burp or something, and you go, oh, that's kind of awkward, but there's nobody else here, and then I think, well, God hears it, but then again, he's okay with it because he loves us, and I don't think a burp is going to offend him. But at the same time, it's a little weird, and it's like, okay, that's a small thing, but I'm welcome to do it. If I want to, I can just let one rip when nobody else is in the car and enjoy that experience if I want to. Not that that's a bad thing, but look at what we do when no one else is around. Look at the thoughts that we think that we don't tell anyone. And that's who we are. That's who we choose to be. And we say, well, no, it was just a random thought. But no, it's coming from somewhere. The mind speaks the treasures of the heart. Somebody said that to me once when I said something sarcastic. This is probably 30-something years ago. And it was crushing. I heard that and I thought, wow, that's really true. And it really changed a lot of things in my life. So, stuff to think about. Give people freedom. Let them be themselves. There's only so much we can do with children, but we try. We want them to know who they are and to look at that and decide who they want to be based on what they see. Can't do that if we don't give them enough freedom. When we have freedom, what do? Give the gift of freedom to others. Let them find themselves. Let them discover who they are. Ed Rushman for Whitestone Journal.